I actually think that someone like Ariana Grande, and again, I don't know her personally, but based on her public history and persona, who seems to take sort of like pleasure in breaking up institutions for power, is actually like a really painful symptom of like women who are told that their only worth is validation from men.
And welcome back. You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast that thinks a funnier title for Extreme Makeover Home Edition would have been Homewreckers. IRS HGTV. I think every HGTV show should be renamed Homewreckers. The Homewrecking Brothers.
They really, I mean, honestly, a lot of the homes do get wrecked.
Have you seen any of those Trading Spaces episodes where the couples come in and they hate it,
Yes.
and they can't even pretend they hate it so much?
Yes. Oh my God. The Trading Spaces where people hate it is its own genre. Homewreckers would be actually a good show.
A good prank show.
I think it would be hilarious.
Extreme Home Makeover messed up a lot of those houses because your house should not actually be extreme makeovered in 24 hours. Like
No.
it should be up to code. There should be some bureaucracy to it.
Yeah, there's like plastic fires in the fireplace. Or
When
like,
they put like a car wash in, they were like, your kid has leukemia. We're giving you a car wash. It's like they don't want that.
It's like the equivalent of the Pimp My Rides, where it's like,
Yes.
that cannot be street legal.
No.
I
Oh,
loved Exhibit doing Pimp My
Yes.
Ride. That
I always thought a good crossover, like a special like April Fool's Day episode would be a crossover of Punk'd and Pimp My Ride. So like they think their ride is going to get pimped. They're a really bad person. They're selected by MTV and like Exhibit comes and is like, we're going to pimp your ride. And then Ashton Kutcher is like, ha, here's
Just
your
kidding.
ride. Yeah. and they have to drive like in humiliation away. So the voices you're hearing, we're going to bring in our panel because, you know, they're excited and they jumped in and they should because they're comfortable here. They're part of the family. We're going to bring in our panel. What we're going to talk about today is not extreme home makeovers, but it is home wrecking.
It's a type of home makeover.
It's a type of extreme home. Extreme home makeover, I think, should be the episode title. Our first panelist is an author and the host of the podcast Noble Blood, Dana Schwartz. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good to see. What have you been up to?
I've honestly just been up to like being in my writing cave, like so bad that like my shoulders are having problems, that I'm just like hunched over a laptop constantly. So seeing your beautiful faces is like the highlight of my week.
Do you get those Instagram ads that are like, put this weird thing on your back and it'll make you sit upright?
And the Instagram ads know me because they figured out that Taylor Swift wore one of those sports bras, and the Instagram ad is like, you should get the bra that will fix your posture. Taylor Swift wore it, and I'm like, you know me. I'm every day. It's ebbing away at my willpower.
Are you on the like million long list for one of those NFL jackets, like the one that Taylor Swift made or was wearing?
No, I did love it, and I was like very impressed and happy. But it's like, A, I don't like football, and B, I live in Los Angeles. But I'm happy for everyone else who wears those
You
jackets.
could get one of like Ian's like festival T-shirts.
Yeah, that would be really cute.
Oh, yeah, you could turn it into like a kind of vest, that like a fringy festival vest.
Yeah, that's a really good like anniversary gift. It's for him, but I'll wear it.
Okay, let's hope he doesn't listen.
No, he won't.
Rounding out the panel, a comedian and another podcast host. Listen to her show, I Love My Kid, but wherever you get your pods. Megan Gailey, welcome back to Hysteria.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I just finished writing for the Critics' Choice Awards. And
It was so funny. The
Thank
monologue was
you.
so good.
I made direct eye contact with Oprah.
What?
Yep. I mean, and there were celebs like it's like we live in LA, we see celebs, but when they're all in one building.
Yeah.
But I got to park closer than Oprah. And so when I saw her like walking in, I'm like, she should have had my spot.
Wait, Oprah parked? She wasn't dropped off?
Well, she was, but then men were like walking her in. She
right.
had like a crew. But yeah, she just was so like, it was like you would see the other celebs be like, Oprah's in the room, Oprah's in the room.
Oh my God. I kind of love events where there's a lot of VIPs there because even though I feel like it is the worst day of work for personal assistants everywhere because they have to navigate trying to like retain their celebrity's feeling of importance, but also like in a hyper-competitive environment where everybody thinks they're like the most important person there. I dated a guy for a few years who was a writer and was Emmy nominated. And when we went to the Emmys, the funniest thing, my favorite part was everyone waiting for their limos after because everyone thought they were the most important person.
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing Jeffrey Tambor get real mad waiting for his limo. People like sitting
Wait,
on their
Jeffrey Tambor has a temper?
yeah.
Everyone was in pretty good spirits. I did pull out right in front of Mark Ruffalo's car because I was in the best lot. Like no one else was in my lot. Like it did not make sense that I was. I don't know what was going on, but yeah, he was like getting into a Volvo next to me. I was like, ah!
Have you ever noticed that celebrity in LA is kind of like the royal family, where it's like there's this everyone sort of knows the hierarchy, and you can't speak to someone if they're more famous than you. You have to wait for them to speak to you.
Yeah. Alyssa, I wonder if you saw that when you were working in government, if there were people who are like, I feel like that old saying that DC is Hollywood for ugly people. There are plenty of
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But
It is,
did you
100%.
see, would that play out as well when you were dealing with like big events or state dinners, that there was a bunch of people?
Oh my goodness. I mean, with state dinners, it was always like there's like actual government protocol about who is like in the line of succession and therefore who gets to sit where. And one of the funniest things that ever happened, we were in South Korea, and the South Koreans were very strict on protocol. And so from a protocol perspective, for some reason, I outranked the national security advisor.
Wow.
And I literally had to throw myself on their mercy. I was like, you don't understand. He and I are going to have beef if you seat me ahead of him. So like, just move me back. It's fine. And she wouldn't. And so I just switched our place cards. But it's real. It's real in DC for sure. And there is a real like, you know, if you're a secretary, like who... I definitely waited for people to speak to me. I did not go charge people. Be like, hey, hi, my name is Alyssa. I didn't do that.
I feel like in DC, in LA, there's a lot more like grace and finesse navigating that hierarchy.
If you're hot, it can bump you up.
Probably.
Right.
That helps.
But I feel like if you could go to a party in LA and there can be like famous people there and everyone kind of knows how to go with the flow and work. There's no like record scratch, everyone's staring at somebody or somebody standing in the middle of the party waiting to be like treated like a big shot. That doesn't happen. I mean, it does happen. But the place that I've seen it happen was, oh God, in DC I saw it happen at Steve Bannon's CPAC party in like 2015 or something
And
like
you were
that.
there
I
as a
love when we
state.
go back
Yeah.
to CPAC.
You know what? We all
You were
have-
his +1.
We've all done things we're not proud of for our jobs. Oh, no, but like Steve King was there, the famous like racist, like KKK adjacent former Iowa elected official was there standing in the middle of the party acting like a big shot. And I couldn't describe the physical like mechanism, but you know what I'm saying. Like he was standing
It's
there.
a real holding court vibe.
Yeah, acting like a big shot. And like half the people there didn't know who he was because Steve Bannon would just invite everybody he thought was interesting to
Yeah, and
those
it's like
parties.
you're not visually famous. You know, like
Right.
your work is evil behind closed doors, but you're not on the cover of Cosmo, Steve.
Oof. Yeah, Steve King was not a great person. And like Chuck Johnson was there.
You're not even the most famous Steve King.
Yeah.
In my limited experience when I was like an entertainment journalist at EW, the people who were real nightmares were the people who weren't that famous.
Yeah.
Because it's like the people who were A-list were like gracious to me and like they're like, you're doing a job, you're interviewing me, I'm doing my job. But it's like, but like the CW level stars were just like, they acted like I won like a Dan and yogurt contest for a meet and greet, where I'm like, no, I'm here to I'm here to do a job that I was assigned to do.
I'm helping you.
Yeah.
I am helping you. Let me help you. It's my job to help you. You help me, I help you. Oh, man, yeah. Famous people. A lot of fun. Well,
They're just like us.
congratulations, Megan.
Thank you.
It must have been kind of a nice bump to follow some of the hosting that went kind of sideways at recent award shows.
I do think it also probably put like a lot more eyes on it, and we were very, very like aware of it, but we felt really good about what we were about to put out there. And, you know, there was a little wink in the monologue. And when that happened, the room went wild. I honestly like kind of got choked up because I was like, writers never get called out in a positive way. And to like be one of them, it was cool.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to something a little bit less celebratory and a little bit more like whatever. Ariana Grande has a new song out. And this comes kind of on the heels of several months of personal drama in Ariana Grande's life. Ariana Grande has sort of always been a public figure that has had relationship drama front and center. I think everyone here knows that that's sort of a choice on the part of a celebrity. You can't really have your personal business be out there completely against your will. That's not really possible?
You don't have to lick the donut.
You don't. But Ariana Grande's kind of tumultuous personal and dating life has been the subject of a lot of media attention for a very long time. The most recent media attention has been over her pairing with her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater, who is a former Tony Award nominee. He once played SpongeBob SquarePants on Broadway. And the way that this becomes sort of scandalous is that both Ariana and Ethan were married when they were shooting Wicked. And then all of a sudden, they both were split up from their partners. And then they were both together. And that is a good example of what we call home wrecking. Right? There's like 2 marriages, 2 homes split up. One had a 1-year-old baby in it. One was a fairly recent marriage, but that ended as well. So I kind of wanted to talk about Ariana's new song, Yes And, which sort of expresses a befuddlement over the fact that people are paying attention to her love life when actually that kind of fuels her career. And then also the way that people are kind of reacting to her just publicly. She's lost like 350,000 Instagram followers.
Really?
Yeah, since the song came out.
Hit her where it hurts.
Yeah, seriously. So, I mean, Dana, your eyes lit up with a theater kid level of familiarity. So what do you make of this entire situation?
I mean, just selfishly, as an individual who doesn't know anyone involved, I was just delighted by this news because it's a fun scandal.
Okay.
Like, I was aware who Ethan Slater was. Like, I knew about SpongeBob the Musical. He was in, like, Assassins off-Broadway. And the fact that, like, the energy of the one straight kid in theater getting the hottest possible woman is just, like, endlessly funny to me. And so it's like, as a metaphorical tabloid reader, I was just like, yeah, celebrities should be messy. Like, they should entertain us. Like, that's fine, because I don't know any of the people involved. I do think America as a whole is like a little weirdly puritanical about that type of scandal sometimes, and a little like hypocritical. But no, as like celebrities, I'm like, great, do fun, chaotic things.
So
that's what Ariana Grande should do: sing whistle notes and be entertaining.
And break up marriages. Alyssa, what have you made of the story and like the whole idea of? I mean, I don't know. Like, does it make you uncomfortable? Do you care?
No. So I had to Google because I was like, "What's Ariana Grande been up to?" And because the last thing I knew about her was that she had licked some donuts, and so I Googled and I was like, I mean, here's the thing. One, it's always women who are the homewreckers. Like, you know, it's always the woman who's like, she's terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. I think my real sort of like homewreckery pinnacle was Brad, Angelina, Jen Aniston. I had like the Kitson team Aniston shirt. Like, I was really invested in that particular breakup because I don't like when you humiliate the other person. Because remember back then, there was the whole W magazine cover because Mr. and Mrs. Smith was coming out and it was Brad and Angelina pretending that they were a family.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I thought that was humiliating. Like, that's not nice. That's not correct. And so with Ariana Grande, I didn't care until I listened to some of the lyrics of her song. And then I was like, you're an asshole.
Oh, no, I haven't listened to the new song. Is she doing mean stuff?
She's saying like, why do you guys care whose dick I ride? And it's like, well, because he abandoned his family.
Well,
Ariana.
she also has a line in another song that's like, break up with your girlfriend.
I'm bored.
You can hit it in the morning, you know? Like, so there is, I think everything everyone has said is very true. And then when I think about them as people, which I think we are not prone to do, you go, oh, a baby? Like, it is like, oh, these are people and their family is broken up, but celebrities get divorced so much. Regular people get divorced so much too, but celebrities, it's like they're trading, they're swapping, they're switching tables. We almost, it's like they get divorced after 6 weeks. Like they really trade constantly, that we're so desensitized to it. But when there are sort of like other people involved and then like children, like the Good Morning America scandal was so fun.
Oh,
And
so
then,
fun.
I
and then
agree.
as
It was
we got more
amazing.
into it, it was like they were separated. This was but I go, if that was my best friend whose husband did you know, like I'm fucking up his car.
I also have to say about Ariana Grande, I do think that being famous ruins your brain. And she has been famous since she was like 12 or 13. This is not me trying to be condescending. I just don't think she understands like consequences or other people, but not because of I just think the way that fame is constructed in a bubble, I'm like, I don't think that person understands that his wife exists as a person. Like, I don't think she has object permanence for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable about the whole like homewrecker narrative, which we see a lot in like celebrity culture. Also, could I just say, as you were talking about divorce, I think celebrities like tendency to just have multiple divorces is a form of conspicuous consumption. Divorce in California is like $50,000 minimum.
Yeah,
it is
expensive.
so expensive. And like these celebrities are getting divorces that are so fast. It's like you are paying 6 figures to get this taken care of.
And how much was the wedding?
And how much was the wedding? Exactly. It's a form of just like driving around a tricked out Bentley. Like that is, you have money. Like if you can get divorced several times, you've got money.
I think the homewrecker, the conversation is like why the attention goes to Ariana Grande as opposed to this man who left his newborn child.
Because he's ugly.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I mean, he's also not releasing songs that are like, and what bitches? Like, and that's
yeah.
kind of what Ariana Grande is doing. I think maybe I have a different perspective than I think like pop culture in general, but I think that like a man leaving his wife who he's been with since they were in college with a 1-year-old baby is like unforgivably shitty behavior. I don't care if it is your hall pass celebrity crush that you've had since you were 12. Like that is fucking shitty behavior. But the thing that does make me feel a little bit better in a spiteful and evil way is the fact that his ex-wife or his soon-to-be ex-wife is his only adult relationship that he's ever had, and he is walking in dick first to a meat grinder.
It's
a meat
the
grinder.
dumbest decision he ever could have made.
He's giving up everything for a person who has very publicly for very long kind of made a joke out of the fact that she ruins people's lives.
And that men are disposable to her. I mean, that's just like, thank you, next. I mean, that is the ethos that she's sort of...
Yeah. And I think, we're in award season right now. And I think it's worth examining the fact that a lot of kind of the award darlings that are men right now have recently ended or broken up long-term relationships. And so why isn't, Jeremy Allen White getting the same treatment that Ariana Grande? Like at all.
Like, see, and not even remotely the same. It's just like, here he is holding hands.
And I think he is getting some level of like people, he's going, ooh, something's going on there. Like I also, and I hear this of men that work as mechanics all the way up to Emmy winners. I think we just expect a lot less of men. Mm-hmm. And so we hold women to a higher standard because we go, how could they do this? Women are supposed to be the moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They know better.
Yes, because
boys
men
will be
lead with their
boys.
dicks.
Yeah.
And so we've just written off that like they can't handle themselves. And like that's just very pervasive.
Mm-hmm.
And not to get all noble blood on
Please
this,
do.
but I do think that this attitude is a remnant from like medieval European Catholic sensibility. This idea that it is incredibly important that a woman, a wife, bearing an heir, that it is the legitimate heir to this line. And that is something that has like been maintained, for centuries of like dynastic European rule, that it's like a man can go and like have his affairs and have illegitimate children, but it is so incredibly important to the structure of our society that a woman's children are legitimate.
I mean, tell me you don't know about genetics without telling me you don't know about genetics. There are like 1,000 genes on the X chromosome. A man determines the sex of a baby, right? He can pass on an X or a Y, so he determines the sex of the baby. If he passes on an X, he passes on 1,000 genes. If he passes on a Y, he passes on 80 genes.
Whoa.
So who is the heir, dude? It's the girl. The girl is closer to her dad genetically than a boy.
But it actually, that like,
Yep.
that's wild.
Yeah, the Y chromosome is weak and it's going to be extinct in like 2 million years.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
I did hear that.
But I do think we continue on this sort of idea that it's like a woman cheating is this mortal grievous sin as compared to like a man, because that can like go off and proliferate however he wants. Where it's like actually even in Europe by like the 1800s, once a woman had an heir, people kind of looked the other way if she wanted to like take a lover.
I think that's nice.
Megan.
Yes.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I do. I have an heir. I have a Y. Man, I should have made some of those critic choice connections last.
Yeah.
You know what? There's always next award show.
But I agree. I mean, even like on a personal level, when I know women that have cheated and the men in my life are like, how could they do this? And it's like, we know men that cheat all the time. Truly.
And the thing is, like, the reality of it is that women sacrifice way more in the act of reproduction than men do. Like, you're giving your body up for like 2 years. Like,
Also, in the act of being with a man, we sacrifice a lot more.
My house is so messy.
Yeah.
My house used to be so neat, and
Yeah.
it's so messy now.
I mean, I do think that like men kind of get away with leaving or breaking up relationships, and part of it becomes sort of like a chicken or egg thing. Like, A, we expect less of men, but B, let's be realistic about the way that many men are raised. They're raised among these expectations. So like, even though these expectations are bullshit and they should be held to higher expectations, and they're capable of being held to higher expectations, they don't really in practice. And so like, I think the question becomes like, how responsible are we for other people's relationships? How responsible is a woman or a man, and is anybody, for another person's marriage?
I actually think that someone like Ariana Grande, and again, I don't know her personally, but based on her public history and persona, who seems to take sort of like pleasure in breaking up institutions for power, is actually like a really painful symptom of like women who are told that their only worth is validation from men, and her trying to establish like superiority over other women. I think it's kind of that unfortunate attitude of like, I'm not like other girls, like I'm cooler, like I can quote unquote beat. And again, I'm projecting this on Ariana Grande. I don't mean it, but on the persona of a woman who wants to steal another woman's man. I think that is a really toxic symptom of a culture that says women's only worth is being better than other women, and men wanting you more than other women.
Yeah.
It is so interesting at this point when we are like shameless about almost everything in society, that it does still seem to be such a scarlet letter for a woman to be labeled as someone who will, quote unquote, steal another woman's man. Like, I see it play out on Bravo all the time. It's like, there's a woman who is in jail for defrauding elderly people, and she's just like tweeting from jail, and everyone's like, can't wait to have her back on the show. And then there's like a woman on Southern Charm who kissed her friend's ex, and everyone's like, we don't want to be around you ever again. And it's really like, oh, we are dying on this moral hill.
At the same time, I can see, like, okay, so after Ariana and Ethan got together, Ethan's wife kind of came out guns blazing, which I think is kind of awesome. Her name is Lily, and she seems cool. But she said something to the effect of Ariana's not a girl's girl, which I think is a very like.
It's I would jump off a bridge if someone said that about me.
That is such an like I feel like being competitive in the way that you're describing, Dana. And thinking that like we're all each other's sexual competition, and like we're never supposed to work together or help each other or support each other or be interested in each other is like such a toxic and like old-fashioned like worldview. It just doesn't. I just feel like being the cool girl is so 2005. Like, I don't know.
I was gonna say it's very Dynasty. It's very Knots Landing.
I think it's Knots Landing.
But if someone
Knots
I
Landing.
didn't know said I wasn't a girl's girl, I'd be like, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't like.
I
if
feel
my
sad.
if my best female friend said that, I would be upset. And I'm not defending her at all. But like, as a married person, and as someone who is friends with couples, where I go, I don't get it. I'm never gonna get it, but it's not mine. It doesn't, like, I don't really understand other people's relationships, and they don't understand mine, and it really, I lose zero sleep over it. That it's like, we don't know what Ethan is telling her.
Yeah.
We don't know what she is telling Ethan. Like, there's all of these behind closed doors things of like, even the Jeremy Allen White thing. You know, I heard a rumor last week that it was like, you know what, maybe actually that's not how it went down. Like, it's like, there's just so many factors and so many DMs and so many other layered relationships that it's like, yeah, if you cheat with someone's husband, they're going to call you not a girl's girl. And what's she going to do? not write a song? No, she's gonna put her high pony on, write a fucking song, and then lick all the donuts. Like, she does not care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do think maybe when I was younger, I didn't feel like this. Like, if I were to, I feel like, first of all, Ariana Grande is in like me at age 23 mode, just making out with everybody.
Yeah.
And she's 30 or something, I think, at this point.
But when you're famous, I think I genuinely do believe you
aging
stop developing
At the moment you became famous.
because you don't have to do anything for yourself. You
Yeah.
don't have to like mature or
No
like
one's told you
engage
no.
with. No one tells you no. You don't have to engage with the world in a critical or like challenging way. So I think her development stopped as soon as people started bringing her water with a straw.
We're also very like inclined that when a woman does something like this to make, because it's like, well, it can't just be that she does not care about other women. It must be that she is not mature. She was abused. Like, we really only almost have to give them a pass because it's incomprehensible for us to think that a woman would do this to another woman.
No, I actually think that it's both of those things. I think she is so famous that she's in a bubble that she does not care about other women.
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
other people, maybe.
But I do think, like, you know, now that I'm older, and that's kind of the unfairness of like learning things as you age, or like wisdom or whatever. I think now I have a perspective where when I was younger, if I was ever in a position to be with somebody who was in a relationship and not be bothered by it at the time, now I'm like, oh God, I don't
Seems
like,
terrible.
yeah, I don't want to do that to somebody else. I know that it takes two to tango and everybody is responsible for their own relationship. And I would never just say like, Ariana broke up this marriage. No, he broke up
He
his
broke up the
marriage.
marriage.
She broke up her marriage.
own marriage.
Yeah.
Exactly. They both wrecked their own respective homes. He had more in his home to wreck than she did. And so I hope the consequences for him are steeper. But I think that now, if for whatever reason I was in a position to make a decision around whether or not to engage with a person who was like coupled, I don't think I could do it. I don't think it's like I'm not morally okay
So
with
complicated. The logistics.
The logistics.
Alone
it. Who has time?
of having a secret family. CJ can barely have our family. So it's like there's not a chance you could have a whole other child.
I just feel like that's some really, to put a positive spin on it, that is some admirable time management.
Well, it's because they're not fathering.
Yeah,
You
that,
know,
that's
they're
true.
like, hello, youngster, patting him on the head.
Yeah.
Here's
I've
20
seen
bucks.
The Sopranos. He goes to his guma. He comes back.
Yeah, they're not doing anything. They're not like playing blocks with them.
Oh man, you know what's funny? It's a Guma. I'm thinking about this like new mob wife energy thing that people are talking about. Have you seen that?
No.
Yes.
Oh my
I
God.
have.
So mob wife energy, Alyssa, take it away. What is it?
It's just like all of these women who are just kind of like dressing like women in The Sopranos. It's like sequins, it's tight, the hair is big, there's like French twists.
Yeah, we're claw
They're
clipping again.
smoking, right?
But what's funny about this happening at the same time that we're having this the nth whatever culture-wide conversation about home wrecking is that like there is a code that these like mob wives live by, which is like they're loyal to their husbands, they don't sleep with each other's husbands, they disrespect people who do sleep with their husbands, and like even though they are like straight up profiteer or like, you know, beneficiaries of crime, they are like, we still have morals, and that's the way that's what they follow. So
I do say, like, I'm kind of with Alyssa here. Like, I kind of don't care about what Ariana Grande does in her personal life. And I do kind of think, as a rule, America is a little too puritanical. Like, I think we tolerate a lot, and then we're like, but I draw the line at cheating. And you're like, all right, adults are adults and things are complicated.
right.
But I do think it's interesting, like, tracing those dynamics of why, especially, we have these expectations on female behavior specifically.
Totally. And, you know, I hope in the future, I don't think that it should be acceptable for anybody to blatantly like brag about causing
no, but
such personal
It's
wreckage.
gross. Like, I can be like, that's not a person I would want to be friends with. But I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to like go to Ariana Grande's
Yeah.
house and like petition for her not to be allowed to, you know,
Sing
be on
at the
house
VMA.
arrest.
It's like, dude, wear your high ponies. Be a singer.
Do your thing. But, you know, we're also allowed to call things like obnoxious behavior and like antisocial behavior and like crappy behavior. And I think that's about where we stand.